Okay, this video will be for a base trans tuning for the 45 RFE 545R for Dodge vehicles. So again, this is just I clicked off that. This is just base. So I don't even know what year the vehicle is, to be completely honest. So one of the first things you need is your trans gear ratios. Typically, here, let's bring this over here. Trans gear ratios. Let's put that over here. Okay, we're going to go over to shift schedule. Set your wide open throttle, which in this vehicle we set at 6,000. Okay. From there, you're going to go to normal shift points. Okay, now what you're looking at here is a shift RPM. Now this is output shaft speed, which is why this looks funny. Okay, so what you need to do is you take your calculator. Here. Take your calculator. You type in your RPM you want to shift at, which is 6,000. Okay, and you divide it by the gear ratio for the gear. So for first gear, you have a 3.0, hit equals, I'm sorry, hold on, 6,000 divided by 3, 2,000. So technically, put 2,000 in this at 100%. Now, you can change any of these that you want. Typically, for base tuning, most Hemi vehicles, the transmission shifts just fine the way they are. So we do that per each gear. So we go 2, 3 here. So 1.667. So take 6,000 divided by 1.667, 3599. So you do the same thing. And the Dodge computer is going to change the number, which whatever. You go through and you do that for each gear that you want. You do the same thing. 6,000 divided by the number that's there. 1.0. So in this specific gear, you would stay at 6,000. And then fourth to fifth, it is actually smaller. So you take 6,000 divided by 0.75, you get 8,000, which is why that's as high as it is there. You do that for your normal shifts. You do that for your wide open throttle. You can play around with any of these. It's exactly the exact same setup, okay? From there, we want to go to shift pressures. Now, just like GM and any other vehicle, you don't want to go too crazy with this. So, I believe this was 125. I do small increment bumps. So, I bump that to 150. Bump every number that's under 150 to 150. And I leave that. Now, you can change this small increments at a time. 5 to 10% increments is all you're ever going to want to do, and then drive around for a little bit and see how it drives. You go too crazy with the pressure and you could actually hurt your transmission. I don't normally mess with the duty cycle underneath the upshift. Torque converter, we go to apply release, and I get rid of the torque converter in at least first and second gear. So I just max out the RPMs for anything that has to do with first and second gear, because you don't need your torque converter to lock. This is not a pickup truck. You're not hauling a trailer. All this is generating heat. You don't need that. So go through and anything that's first and second gear and get rid of the torque converter from applying. Same thing in all of these. Same thing in these seconds. Same thing in these and these. From there, I move over to torque management. Max torque per gear, I max out, which is typically 510. And then I mess with these a little bit. So the first to second, second to third, I add a little bit extra torque on the shifts to firm them up a little bit. Again, you only want to do 5 to 10% changes on these. You don't want to go too crazy with them because you don't want to damage your transmission. So you want to make small changes to it. And that's pretty much it when it comes to tuning these transmissions. Each area that you see, you make small changes to it. We'll make a video later on some of these more high-tech areas, but for base trans tuning, this is all you need to know.